What's going on, Reds? Welcome back to another episode of Liverpool Latest. I'm your host, Matt. Thanks for joining me today. I got a couple things I want to talk about. Some of it might be a little bit outdated, unfortunately, but it's still something that is worth discussing. First and foremost, seems like these talks are stirring up again every time people perceive Mo Salah to have a problem. But the question now is, what's the risk of a civil war in the men's dressing room for Liverpool Football Club? Let's be fair. Mo Salah should have been sent off. It was a very poor performance for him. Cody Gakpo should have also been sent off. It's also no secret that when Rio Ngumoha came on, the game progressed progressively better for Liverpool. He made an instant impact, if you will. Here's the deal. People, once again, are saying that there's going to be a civil war with Salah and Slot again, and that this might be the deciding factor that leads to the line in the sand, if you will. And I talked about this in a previous episode. I think it was the last one. You can't start Mo knowing that he may not perform to his old standard. You also can't bench Mo because the media is going to have a fucking field day with it. So either way, you're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. But is it worth starting a civil war in the dressing room over? I don't think so. I think that is a very much overblown assumption. That's media speak to me. That's all bullshit. However, do I think that this could be what is essentially the beginning of the end for Mo on the team? Yes, 100%. Do I want it to happen? No, I don't. And taking my sentimentality out of it, it would not shock me if come the summer, I come on here with a Liverpool Latest episode and say, hey, listen, they sold Mo somewhere, or Mo left. Or in January where it's like, hey, they transferred Mo somewhere else. None of that's going to be shocking, unfortunately. Do I think we're going to have as bad as an outburst as we had after that one? Was it Leeds or something? When Salah subbed him off or didn't start him or whatever it was? Whatever the deal was. I don't even remember because it was one, long ago, and two, so much has happened, whether it's for the better or worse, that it's like, is it even worth talking about? But some people are going to create their narratives. And I think the idea of a civil war is a bit overblown. Okay, Captain America. Start the war with Iron Man, I guess. We'll see what happens. But I think that's bullshit. But the question that is also important to think about here is where Rio stands as far as starting on the team and playing full-time football. Here's what I'm saying. If you're going to put Rio on the field, you don't put him on the right wing. That doesn't solve the problem. Naturally, he is a left-sided player, more comfortable receiving to the feet and driving inside from the left half space. And he's already playing left wing in his senior cameos. Which brings us to Cody Gakpo, who has been struggling to isolate fullbacks, offering limited off-ball separation, failed to build chemistry with Kirkez, which I've talked about in the past. So, why are we talking about Salah being the problem when Cody Gakpo has just as much been the problem, especially throughout the entire course of the season, as but for some reason is still getting consistent starts on the team. And you can't convince me that it's not some sort of propaganda that Arne Slot is trying to push on the team, where it's like Cody's going to be our guy. He's going to start every single match no matter how poor he's been doing, and he's been doing very poor. And I said this when Salah was poor in the beginning of the season. He is not immune to being benched. You have to make a statement. But when you're consistently doing it, then it's going to be a bit of a problem. It's going to send a different kind of message. Cody Gakpo, the only time I think I have not seen him play on the field for the most part is because of injuries. So he's starting regardless of whether he's being shit or not. So why are we not allowing Rio to play full-time football with the senior guys and playing a position that Cody Gakpo is currently in, and he's not producing anything, not well anyway, and Rio is much more comfortable on that side? I don't get it. You know, it's also funny because I saw a tweet today from the Anfield Papers Twitter account, which has been known to be bullshit. It is apparently the NBA Centel of Liverpool Twitter, saying that Liverpool are going to try to extend Cody Gakpo to prevent other international teams from acquiring him, which I found hilarious. If that is true and that becomes part of fruition, I will laugh my ass off, because it just goes to show that the powers that be, Slot and farther up, don't get it. If we're trying to start a youth movement here, Rio's got to be one of the key faces of that in the future, the very near future. He's good, Rio. He's very good, and I think he deserves to play full-time football. I believe that the idea that he is not getting those minutes is a bit shocking. Especially because it's always at the same point of the game. He's always subbing on in the same portion of the game, the last 10 to 15 minutes before extra time. It's the same shit. And how does someone expect a player to progress if they keep putting them in the same exact situation and possibly in a position that they're not necessarily comfortable being in? I mean, look at what's going on with Dominic Szoboszlai. He can't dominate in the midfield because he has to play right back when we know we have guys who play dedicated right back positions. So where's the logic in any of this is where I ask. I got another report that I'd like to talk about, which I think is actually going to be interesting and kind of goes back to the whole Salah conversation. Yan Diomande, someone I've talked about quite a bit here on the show, could be a potential successor to Salah, maybe earlier than any of us could assume, because as we know, Salah has a contract until 2027. That said, it seems like Bayern Munich believe Liverpool have a personal agreement with Diomande from Leipzig. Now, why is Bayern Munich involved in this? I guess they're also trying to acquire him in their own right. And why wouldn't they? He has 9 goals, 7 assists in 25 games, and he's valued at around $118 million. At just 19 years old, mind you. And he's a right winger. So we have to ask ourselves, if we're going to do this whole youth movement thing now, is Liverpool going to pull the trigger? I think they should. I've been saying this for a while. They certainly should at least make an attempt. And if they're allegedly, according to Bayern Munich, in personal terms, then I think that process could happen a lot sooner than any of us might think. I don't necessarily believe that because this is coming from a club that's not Leipzig, but it would not shock me either. So, where does Bayern Munich fall in any of this? Well, they could potentially pivot their quest for Diomande for Cody Gakpo. And once again, because this is all intertwined, if the Anfield Papers report is true, well, report, I should say in quotes, if it's true, then that means Liverpool are going to do everything they can to also extend Cody Gakpo from him leaving the club to go to another club. So, again, damned if you do, damned if you don't. They could either promote Ngumoha, sign Diomande, let Salah walk, or at least keep him for a shorter term than the full contract. It's a mess. It is an absolute mess. So there's a couple of scenarios that I now offer to you. Salah stays, and Diomande, who may be acquired by the team at this point, rotates in gradually, which potentially could be the most logical option. Gakpo is potentially sold, God willing, and Ngumoha develops on the left side. That, on paper, sounds like the most ideal situation for fans of the club and from a player and development perspective. Scenario B. Salah leaves. Diomande becomes the immediate starter. The attack rebuilt is around a youth pace, and it is basically a large cultural reset. For me, not the most ideal, but I would understand it. And then probably the worst would be scenario C, which is no Diomande deal at all, which means Ngumoha could be accelerated, and an external right-wing alternative is explored. And of course, Gakpo's role would have to be reassessed. So either way, any of these kind of work for Ngumoha a bit, but and frankly, I don't know, man. I'm gonna, all these scenarios kind of maybe sound good on paper, but I would prefer A, because me being the Salah Glazer I am, let's keep it that way, let's keep it that way for a little while longer. Let's give him a proper send-off, But that all comes down to the fact that these personal terms are agreed upon, and that is a talk that is actually in place at the moment. So we'll see what happens from there, because the last time I heard personal terms were being agreed upon, it was the whole Mark Gahey situation. And we know where that went. Nowhere. I'll tell you what's also been kind of leading us to nowhere is the whole post-Trent right back problem. I had a bad feeling losing Trent would be a problem for the team. I didn't want it to happen. I wanted him to stay. The talks as the rumors began ramping up, and Trent himself is giving his own opinions on it. You would think that it was going to be you would think it was not going to happen. You would think it was just going to be some sort of rumor that Spain is trying to spread, right? Little did we know that did not happen. Trent leaves at the end of the season after we win the title, goes to Real Madrid, doesn't have a necessarily ideal year. I don't think Madrid is having a necessarily ideal year at all, considering they have sacked Xabi Alonso and all the other problems that they've been having on top of it. So we have struggled to maintain a full-time right back because, let's be fair, everybody keeps getting fucking injured. We had Jeremy Frimpong early in the season, injured. Connor Bradley, horrific injury, out for the season. Frimpong returns, does very good for the games that he's there, injured again. Now we have Szoboszlai, natural midfielder, isn't necessarily the most comfortable at right back, but does a pretty solid job for what it's worth. and it's just a revolving door. We also have options for, say, Curtis Jones, who could be there. Who else? Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Szoboszlai isn't available. Frimpong is out. Now let's throw Joe Gomez in there. So this is a revolving door of shit that this position is now in because of Trent deciding to leave the club. Now you have to ask yourself, when the season's over and all is said and done, who's going to be able to take some of these roles and help make that position a little bit lighter? One of those names that I've been reading up on is Nathan DeCat, who is not a natural right fielder, or right back, I should say, excuse me. He is a deep lying midfielder who can simulate Trent's passing role, which was very good for the team, from the central zone. So that matters a lot because with slot, positional structure typically relies on one midfielder dropping into first phase, one fullback staying wide, who would be Frimpong, ideally, and one pushing between the lines. And Nathan the Cat could be that guy who can do that, or at least can help do that. And for those of you that might not be familiar with Nathan the Cat, he is currently under contract with Anderlecht, which I don't know if what team is Anderlecht. They are they're a Dutch team. I had to read up on that again really quick. They're part of the Dutch league. I don't know if they're a pro, like a top Dutch league team, or if they're like maybe one underneath. I'm not familiar with any of the Dutch teams. I know there's a few that are out there because Slot has obviously been a part of them, but he's someone that is being talked about, and people think that he could be good for Liverpool. And his profile is more of a high volume long presser who's more comfortable dropping into the center back line and a press resistant receiving and switch of play specialist. So instead of having a full right back playmaker, which Trent more or less was, you move toward a defensive midfield playmaker and a right back runner, which again would be Frimpong's preferred position there. Because I don't think anybody else can do it as good as Frimpong has done it, minus the injuries. So, then you also have to think about what the build-up's going to be. The Cat can drop, Frimpong can stay high, Wirtz could go to half space, and Salah can get isolated wide, which means you can regain early switches, faster tempo, and the opponent have opponent block stretching and a better weak side access, which is something that we have had consistent problems with over the course of the season for sure. There's been some talk that he's also been compared to Adam Wharton, which could be endearing as well, or perceived negatively, depending on how you see it. And I think this could work, but I don't like the idea of having the right back position split up into two things, because let's be fair, I don't really know what the formation would look like for that, frankly. I also don't know where Gravenberch's position would be, because Gravenberch is kind of in the defensive midfielder position as it stands right now as well. So I fail to see it on paper, but I'm not going to necessarily not see it at the same time. It just sounds like a mess for me. And again, I am a casual fan. I don't fully understand yet the idea of formations and players going where and the numbers and stuff like that. But as I've been learning and I see it on TV and the games that I watch with Liverpool and as well as other teams and what they do, I say to myself, I'm like, why is this working for them and it's not working for us, and so on and so forth. And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't think we're that type of team. I'm just being honest. I don't think that is our style of play. I think it could work if it was done well, but everything has to go right for it to be done well. And that is all I have to say about that. So, can Nathan the Cat be a part of Liverpool in the near future? We'll find out. We'll see if a deal is made. Then not much has been said in that regard or as far as a transfer goes. So that is my Liverpool latest today. Thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed the video, I encourage you to leave a like and comment down below with your thoughts on the video and everything I've had to talk about today. And most importantly, please hit subscribe, join the Liverpool Latest family. It helps me out, it helps Fan Arch out. And apparently, I didn't know this until I had a conversation with my friends over at Fan Arch, but the Liverpool Latest is, in addition to being on YouTube, which is where I mostly perceived it to be, it's also on audio platforms for podcasting. So Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeart, probably any podcasting platform you may have. Search up Liverpool Latest and listen to it that way if you would like to do so. And the support would mean the absolute world to me. So I would appreciate you if you do. I hope you take care. Remember, when you join the Liverpool Latest family, you never walk alone. I'll see you guys on the next one.